Hi guys, this is my instant match review to the Tottenham Hotspur 0, Crystal Palace 2 game. And actually, I think this is going to say a lot. The game isn't even over yet. We're in the 90th minute, 91st minute. It's currently 2-0 to Crystal Palace, but it should be about 8-0. Spurs have been absolutely crucified and dominated by Crystal Palace. The game goes on, but for me, there's no point waiting for the end of it because it's just been so embarrassingly poor, and I've not wanted to be negative about anything because, of course, we're in a Europa League final. Matthias Tell has just gone down there, and that's all that matters, really. But it is just humiliating to continually watch Tottenham get dominated, especially by all these teams who have much lower budgets. Deki Kulusevski started today. He went off with an injury. He is on the bench, afterwards, so hopefully he's okay. But there's really no positives that come from this game at all, and there have actually been some genuinely shocking performances. I have to call it, as I see it, Archie Gray, who started in midfield, and a lot of people have been calling for him to start in midfield all season. He's not ready for it in the Premier League. It was like men against boys, and then he was moved to right back, and I'm afraid his confidence is now completely shot. So I feel for him. Jed Spence, I think he has taken losing his first team place to Udogie in those Europa League games incredibly badly and incredibly personally. It's not the first time I've said it, but he did not look interested today. Oh, and Palace are in here, and Nketiah one-on-one. Good save from Kinski. He's had to make a few saves today, Kinski. So that keeps it at 2-0 with 45 seconds to go. Yeah, not good for Jed Spence at all. He looks disinterested. He was just jogging around the pitch. Slightly better in the second half after Ange made some substitutions, brought Sonny on. I guess that's a positive. Sonny got some minutes, but he looks very rusty indeed. Had a couple of chances to get a shot out of his feet and wasn't able to do it. Mikey Moore just running into the box here. Good stuff from Mikey Moore, but just wrestled out of play in the box by Lacroix. And actually, that is a good example. All day today, and I've already mentioned it being men against boys once, just the physicality of Crystal Palace has dominated Spurs. One thing I will say, as they show Oliver Glasner getting frustrated on his bench, it's been an excellent audition for Oliver Glasner. If he is on Tottenham's list, and for me, I would have him at the top of Tottenham Hotspur's list as a potential replacement for Big Ange Postecoglou, because Premier League experience has done a great job at Crystal Palace, won the Europa League at Frankfurt, and he plays a 3-5-2 kind of 5-3-2 system as the final whistle goes, like Conte did, like Nuno did, but they actually play attacking, exciting football. And I don't look at the team 1 to 11 of Crystal Palace or the squad and think they have a better squad than Spurs, but I just think they're better organised. They all understand what they have to do, wherever they are on the pitch, far better than Tottenham do. Look, this was a reserve team. We made 8 changes to it, but I'm sorry, this stuff does matter. As they show Daniel Levy getting straight on his phone, texting someone, get me Oliver Glasner's agent's number. But it does matter because we've just seen it time and time again. 20 defeats in the Premier League. Many more total. Eza today, Eberechi Eza, and Ange goes straight up to him and gives him a hug. He gave us a lesson today, not just because he scored 2 goals, but he's like Chris Waddle. He's so graceful on the ball. Fantastic player. I think we had a shot at getting him last summer, but I think it'll be too much for him now to get him. I think he'll go to somewhere who will pay bigger wages, a Man City or a Man United or a Chelsea or something. Listen, I was determined not to be negative at all today, but Tottenham find more and more ways to get humiliated in the Premier League. And this was a home game, and we honestly, I'm not exaggerating, could and maybe should have lost 6-0. 6-0. Kinski had to make some important saves. They had 2 goals disallowed in the first half alone. And yeah, it's ugly. And of course, he's resting players. No Van der Ven, no Doggy, no Romero, and no Richarlison, no Brennan Johnson. He's resting players for that final. But I get it, I do. But Palace have got a cup final coming up too, and they played their first team, and you could just see the rhythm, how they all knew exactly what they were doing. Very impressive performance by them. And they're just showing Archie Gray now, and he looks crestfallen, to be honest. He looks absolutely crestfallen. I'm not surprised. He's just not quite ready to play in that midfield. And to play him in midfield in these kind of reserve sides where he's playing against other midfielders who are not kind of in a familiar pattern with each other and rhythmic. And Sonny now is talking to Eze, and hopefully he's saying to him, come on, Eberechi, come to Spurs. You know you want to. You know you want to. They're going to swap shirts after the game. Yeah, I feel for Archie Gray. Look, I'll go through 1 to 11 and give my ratings. Kinski, there was a comment during the watch long at half time that was like, Kinski is eccentricity 20. He did look like a rabbit in the headlights at times. He was blocked off under the high ball a few times from corners. One thing I will say is Tottenham's defending from set pieces today was absolutely abject, just losing every first and second ball. But anyway, but I'll give Kinski a 6. He did make some important saves, but also looked like he hadn't played a lot of football. That's the way I'll put it. Porro played probably 60 minutes or so. He did okay. Give him a 6. Danso, I think, is one of the few players who can hold their head up high. He was putting his head on the line all the time, so I'm going to give him a 6.5. Ben Davis, I'm going to give a 5.5. He didn't look great at all. Spence, I'm afraid I'm going to have to give a 3. Then in midfield, Sarr. My God, Pat Matasar played the entire game and was basically nowhere to be seen. He had one headed chance in the second half from a good cross from Porro, but he couldn't get his head around it. I'm going to have to give Sarr a 3 or 4 as well. Bentancur started the game. I'll give him a 6. Kulusevski didn't really play enough. So, you know, let's say that he got a 5.5. Forward line, Tell, 5. Who else even played in that forward line? I'm going to have to actually go and see who started that game now, because it was just so boring and disappointing that I couldn't remember. So Archie Gray, I'm afraid I'm going to have to give a 3. Odebear, 5. And then in terms of people who came on, Sonny, 5.5. Moore didn't really get in the game, 5.5. Bissouma, 6. So not a lot going for that performance, to say the very least. And the worry is we've got Aston Villa away on Friday, and there's no way he's going to play the players for the following Wednesday if he's not, you know, is he? He's not going to play Van de Ven and Romero. We might get torn an absolute new one at Villa Park, because they are properly chasing Champions League places, and we have a game, a European Cup final, you know, 5 days later. Here are the stats. 23 shots to Crystal Palace, 8 to Spurs. Expected goals, 3.39 Crystal Palace, 0.68 Spurs. Possession, 53-47. That seems like it should be way more. Distance covered, 95 kilometres Palace, 2 kilometres more than Spurs. Honestly, just not good at all. And it'll be games like this, I'm afraid. I know everyone will be thinking, oh, there's nothing on it, but it's the 20th time this season. And it's games like this, and of course the injury record, that will make it, even if Ange does find a way to win that final, that will make it very difficult for him to keep his job. And I feel for him, but when we play, and it's been a thing with Spurs for a long time, when we play these kind of mix and match teams, or 8 changes or whatever, it never goes well for Tottenham. We've done it in Europe down the years a number of times, but today, honestly, it was like we were like the under 10s, and Palace were like men. Deary me. One of the most depressing games to watch, probably in my life as a Spurs fan. And we were all saying after last week's West Ham game, weren't we? That was one of the worst games to watch ever in the Premier League. Well, this was one of the worst ever games to watch as a Spurs fan, as we let a team like Crystal Palace, very much a mid-table team, but who are very well organised, done really well in an FA Cup final, but we let them rip us a complete new one. And very, very fortunate to not be on the end of a scoreline that would be genuinely embarrassing for the club, for Ange Postecoglou, for everyone. But let's try and end it with some positives. We are in a European final in a week and a half's time. It won't be this team playing, and the team that do play in those European games have shown that when they try and when win that 11 together, they are a match for a better teams than us. That result away at Frankfurt proves that. And it is exciting. It is exciting at the thought of winning that trophy. But either way, you have to say, can you imagine us in the Champions League next season? Christ alive. If you saw that semi-final, Inter Barca, can you imagine either of those teams playing us at the moment? I mean, I know this isn't our first team, but dearie me. And I'll just end by saying what I said already. Great audition for Oliver Glasner if he's on the list. I could see Daniel Levy going for him. Would he want to come to Spurs? I don't know. Great audition for Eze, but I think he'll go elsewhere. But yeah, Tottenham 0, Crystal Palace 2. Could have been about 12. And just 2 Premier League games left to endure for Spurs. And of course, other than those, the big one. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Do press like on this video. Do subscribe to the channel. Come on, you Spurs.